So future Hall of Fame and star division rival edge rusher Myles Garrett of the Cleveland Browns recently just put out a statement that he's requesting a trade with the Browns and that he wants to win a Super Bowl. I happen to know a team that's in Super Bowl contention that can help him accomplish that goal. Lamar Jackson also likes that idea and reposts Myles Garrett in his jersey swap of him in the purple, which you can see looks very nice, by the way. And check out this clip from earlier in the season whenever a fan was telling him about how good he looked in purple.
Yeah, cut him on. Hey, Myles, come on, Myles. Hey, Myles. Hey, Myles, come on, yeah.
All jokes aside, I respect your game.
Yeah, Myles.
I respect the game,
Hey,
baby.
you look good in purple, bro. Cut the bottom on, man. Cut the bottom on, Myles.
And you also can't forget about the little interaction that our right tackle, Roger Rosengarten, the second-round draft pick who turned out to be a starting caliber great right tackle to protect Lamar Jackson, the little interaction that he had with Myles Garrett whenever Myles Garrett said, hey, man, you're in this league, you're on a great team, you ain't a nobody. Check out that clip as a reminder.
No, I'm a nobody, but if I get that jersey
Hey, you in the league, y'all winning games, y'all looking great. You ain't never nobody. I got you. Got me? Yeah. Appreciate you.
So we're not just going to talk about the possibility of the Ravens trading for Myles Garrett, but also there's some rumors about Micah Parsons and Marlon Humphrey was having some flirtation going on and posting about it while he was together with him at the Pro Bowl, but also some other free agent options for the Baltimore Ravens to improve their pass rush and talk about the pursuit of an elite pass rusher and what that would do for the Ravens and their Super Bowl chances moving forward. Let's go ahead and dive into the content. Let's go ahead and start off with Myles Garrett's statement that he posted. He said, as a kid dreaming of the NFL, all I focused on was the ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl, and that goal fuels me today more than ever. My love for the community of Northeast Ohio and the incredible fan base of the Browns has made this one of the toughest decisions in my life. These past 8 years have shaped me into the man I am today. While I've loved calling this city my home, my desire to win and compete on the biggest stages won't allow me to be complacent. The goal was never to go from Cleveland to Canton. It was always to compete and win a Super Bowl. With that in mind, I've requested him to be traded from the Cleveland Browns, Myles Garrett. It's kind of crazy that he says, hey, I want to win a Super Bowl, and with that in mind, please get me out of the Browns. Please get me out of here because the Browns are clearly in rebuild mode right now. And Deshaun Watson, I'm sure you saw, he re-injured his Achilles and not looking good for the Browns right now. However, if I was the Baltimore Ravens, I would give up 2 first-round picks, maybe a player, maybe some fourth. I mean, the Ravens have 11 draft picks in this upcoming draft. I would give up some capital if it meant I got a higher chance of winning a Super Bowl, because the reality is Myles Garrett on the same defense as Matabike and Owe and Van Noy, Travis Jones, Michael Pierce, Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton, Nate Wiggins, and Marlon Humphrey, your chances of winning a Super Bowl would be pretty high, especially when the other side of your team you'd have Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, 2 future Hall of Famers. I mean, your roster would be loaded with future Hall of Famers if you brought in Myles Garrett, and I really do think it would help them get over the AFC hump, especially in the playoffs. They've really struggled with forcing turnovers. We talked about that. We showed that graphic where Lamar, in his 8 games in the playoffs, his defense has only forced 2 turnovers, and to put that in perspective, the other quarterbacks in this list in anywhere from 8 to 13 games, all these other teams were having at least 1 turnover forced per game for their quarterback to get the ball back, if not 2 turnovers forced per game, like with what the Bengals have been doing with Joe Burrow. The Ravens need some more turnover support from Lamar in the playoffs, and pressure and havoc, strip sacks and forced errant throws and all that good stuff with a Myles Garrett trade would definitely help to accomplish that goal. Whether or not the Ravens can trade for Myles Garrett, I still think they need to add another significant impact pass rusher on their roster for the 2025 season. Now, the likelihood of pulling off this trade to get Garrett is not high, because the Browns are unfortunately for us, division rivals. The Browns would have to play the Ravens twice a year with Myles Garrett, and that would not be good for them, So I don't think they would do an in-division trade like that. It's reported, our guy Cole Jackson said that the Ravens called about Zadarius Smith and that they just shut it down. They didn't want to negotiate with the Ravens because it was in-division type of request. However, would the Browns engage in talks if it was significant draft capital where we're talking about multiple first-round picks? Maybe. But we also know that Eric DeCosta likes to hold on to his picks, and especially those first and second round picks he holds very valuable. And usually those first and second round picks for the Ravens have been panning out. You can look at Rosengarten and Nate Wiggins, your top 2 picks from last year. Those are impact difference making guys, starters on your roster. You can look at Owe, you can look at Bateman, you can look at Zay Flowers, you can look at Lamar, you can look at Mark Andrews, and all these top 3 round type of picks, how much impact they can make on your roster. And you just never know. You could land a Myles Garrett in the draft. The likelihood isn't very high that you're going to get a Hall of Fame pass rusher with your first-round pick, but there's still the chance, you know what I mean? And the chance that you get him on the rookie deal as well. That's part of the gamble. But then Spencer Schultz says, I've said on the podcast the entire year, if they fall short in the postseason, I believe they need to do everything they can to acquire an A-tier edge rusher. They haven't had it in almost a decade when Suggs was in his prime. Pass rush wins in the postseason, plain and simple. Giants took down Brady by hitting him, and I could not agree more. I think they do need some more pass rush juice. Nnamdi Madubuike and Owe is a great start. Van Noy has done some good things, but I still think you need more. I think you need a guy, like he said, an A tier, like a guy that you have to account for, a guy that demands double teams. And that type of guy, I think, could help the Ravens get over the hump. Now, what's interesting is Marlon Humphrey posted this little thing here on social media. Marlon Humphrey was hanging out with Micah Parsons at the Pro Bowl, and he said, Micah Parsons says he wants to come to the AFC. I know a team. So Micah Parsons is another one of those A-tier pass rushers. I don't think he's quite in the level as Myles Garrett, but he's a little bit younger, and he's got some real explosiveness and juice and could pair up with, Dafe Owe, his former teammate when they were at Penn State together, and that could be a nice formidable pass rush with those two guys, with Madubuike, Travis Jones in the middle. So just food for thought. I don't know if Dallas would be willing to part ways with a superstar like Micah Parsons, but they are in rebuild mode. They need a new quarterback. I don't know what's going on with Dak. And, keep your eye out for the Ravens making a big splash to try to get over that hump. It'd be interesting, to say the least, if the Ravens could pull off a big-time splash for a pass rusher. Now let's take a look at some free agent options for the Baltimore Ravens. So let's say the Ravens make some calls. They aren't able to come to terms because they're going to make calls. That's what Eric DeCosta does. Like he called about Zadarius Smith during the trade deadline last year. Some free agent options. Okay, so Azeez Ojulari was a guy that a lot of Ravens fans wanted to trade for at the deadline. He was very productive as a pass rusher and was getting a lot of pressures, getting a good amount of sacks for the Giants this last season. But he's more of a situational pass rusher. He's not really a three-down player. He's more of a third-down specialist guy, but he can definitely get after the quarterback. Khalil Mack, this guy has been a proven star in this league for many years now. He could be, wearing a Hall of Fame jacket one day. He's got a lot of sack production. He was with the Chargers this last year, and he had a great season. He was top 5 in pass rush win rate and had a very high PFF grade. Finished the season with 6 sacks, which wasn't great, as far as production, but his disruption and pressure rate was really good. The year before that, in 2023, 17 sacks with the Chargers, 74 tackles with the Chargers. The year before, 8 sacks and 50 tackles. Man, the guy has 107.5 sacks in his career. He's been doing it at a high level for a long time. He had 2 sacks in the playoffs against the Texans, so he shows up in big moments. Let's check out his official PFF grade here. Khalil Mack, let's see. He had a 90.4 overall grade, which was 5th out of 211 edge rushers. So that tells you a lot right there. 5th out of 211 edge rushers overall grade. He was 16th out of 211 in pass rush grade. So still doing it at a high level, elite level, 16th out of 211. His run defense grade was 2nd out of 211. So he was defending the run well, getting after the quarterback, 5th overall. PFF has him logged for 7 sacks in 2024, 2 forced fumbles, which was 8th out of 211 edge rushers. So Khalil Mack, if he's still got some juice, he wants to play. I think he'll be 30. He's 33 right now. I think he'll be 34 next season. But these edge rushers a lot of times can play well into their 30s. We're seeing, I think Kyle Van Noy is the same age, and you saw what he did with 12 sacks this last year. Khalil Mack could be a legitimate option if the Ravens are willing to part ways with some money, because he's going to cost some money. But then again, if Khalil Mack, if it isn't all about the money and he wants to win a ring, the Ravens are a legit option for that as well, where it could be a hand-in-glove type fit. Let me know what you think about Khalil Mack. Another guy that would be a free agent is Matt Judon. His PFF grades were not great. His production was middle of the pack. I don't know if it just had to do with changing scenery. He was traded in the middle of the season. He was with the Patriots and then went over to the Falcons. The Falcons didn't have a great defense in general. The Patriots didn't have a great defense in general, and I think he was kind of asked to be the guy consistently, and I think he's about 33 years old right now as well. So some guys are out there on the free agent market: Khalil Mack, Matt Judon, and Azeez Ojulari. Trade targets like we talked about with Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons are a little bit less realistic, but doesn't mean it couldn't happen. We've seen crazier things happen, and there's probably other guys out there on Eric DeCosta's radar that he could be making phone calls about that we may not even have thought about. And you just never know. Like, I still remember, I think back to that, what was it, the 2020 draft or the 2022 draft? I don't know. Yeah, it was the 2022 draft where we had 2 first-round picks because we traded Marquise Brown. You guys remember that? It was like a total shock surprise where we got the Cardinals' first-round pick because they traded for Marquise Brown the draft night, and the Ravens kept it under wraps, kept it hush-hush, because they didn't want teams to know their draft targets, their strategy. If they would have done it before the draft, teams could have said, well, they need a receiver, or they could be looking at this position or that position, but they kept it under wraps. You just never know what Eric DeCosta's got up his sleeve. Oh yeah, and back to the Micah Parsons thing. Bleacher Report actually proposed this blockbuster deal which they sent Micah Parsons to the Ravens in exchange for, I don't like this, Zay Flowers, Van Noy, and a 2025 first-round pick. Heck no. I would not give up Zay Flowers for Micah Parsons straight up, yet alone throw in a first-round pick for him. Zay Flowers is a star, like top 10 wide receiver. He's a legit playmaker. Made his first Pro Bowl this year, and he's going to be making plenty more Pro Bowls. And I feel very strongly about Zay Flowers being an absolute weapon for Lamar, and a guy that's going to have to help him, help Lamar win a Super Bowl. Playoffs might have been different if Zay Flowers was able to play in that Buffalo game, but, speculation at this point. So, let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section below about the Ravens bringing in a big-time edge rusher. We talked about Parsons. We talked about Garrett. We talked about some free agent options. There's some guys in the draft as well that are legitimate options that could make a difference. But like we said, you just don't know. If you're trying to win a Super Bowl in 2025, you just don't know what you're going to get on the field year one from an edge rusher. You could hope it's great, but again, it's just a hope. But some of these proven guys, you know what you're getting. So as part of the draft, I know the Ravens believe in building through the draft, but I know Eric DeCosta has also gotten aggressive before and really wants to help the Ravens get over the top to win a ring. So let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below. I love you guys. Smash the like button if you got any value out of today's content. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.
Ray, when he wasn't looking, he ran me over.